Hello, welcome. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous, also known as the Ablossi Baba, coming to you from the Vertex of Abundance, Galactic Temple of Ascension. I'm going to talk openly and freely about love, devotion, illusion, delusion, twin flames, false twin flames, soulmate. We'll try to keep it around 15 minutes. It may max out at 20. Hopefully it'll come in shorter. In my work, my experience, my professional judgment, and personal opinion, people are deluded. And this whole concept of happily ever after and marriage and soulmates and lovers, it's just a prison and enslavement device. Now, I'm going to succinctly say that love is a tool used by overlords in higher realms to enslave those in the lower realm. But if I were to say it nicely, most people are trying to anchor in a fifth dimensional tool, a fifth dimensional consciousness, a fifth dimensional concept into the third dimension. So if you understand you're trying to bring something eternal into the temporary, and that it's not going to resonate, it's not going to acclimate without a completely different shift in paradigm, then we're on the same page. So let's talk about the concept of Bhakti. Bhakti is basically surrendering to the divine. Here on earth, it would look like faithfulness, okay, loyalty, okay, devotion, surrender, okay, and it's on a spiritual level or an ascended level, it's attaching yourself to your understanding of a higher consciousness, a higher divinity. So God, for me, is the being in which you live in. So to us as humans, we are the god of the bacteria that goes in our bowels. So to Pluto, we're pieces of shit. I say that to dramatize an idea. Okay. Of course, if Venus is in the center of our solar system, it's not, but concept and idea here. Then the heart. Okay. So now when you start going out, we have planets like Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. So those are further out. They might be older. Okay. So God is really a consciousness one steps into to perceive the phenomena of the universe. From an understanding or an understanding, you can never understand what your house really looks like unless you look at it from the outside. If you're 3, if you're 4, if you're 7, you might not really understand the dynamics of a house. If you're 30 and you're looking at it from a helicopter, you might understand every single thing about your house. Okay, so Bhakti is what gets us out of that. Now, Bhakti is basically raising the love consciousness. It's worship through raising your love consciousness and vibration. Okay, but it's devotion, attachment, faithful to a consciousness that would illuminate our delusion. Okay, so love for God. Now, normally our God becomes love because love is a really easy and accessible vehicle to reach the divine. It just disempowers us because we are in a temporary, limited space. And true bhakti yoga cannot come from the worldly place. So when we're looking at love through places of attachment, the ego, okay, gaining physical, spiritual, furthering selfish interests like owning, attaching, desiring, possessing. Okay, maybe sometimes we're in psychic places, cruelty, pain, psycho, I said psychic. Even like, non-vegans, that could be considered a certain type of yoga. There are meat lovers out there. But then we have like sattvic, like really pure and truthful love, which is based out of pure kindness and like, non-attachment, like a person who could work and give and not care what they're receiving. you have to understand, especially in this day and age, we're not in a selfless place. That kind of love is typically reserved for children. Very rarely does it even go to pets. Okay, so understand that as humans, our mind is diluted because we have attachments to the material world. We're running, trying to eat. We're running, trying to pay our mortgage, trying to pay our rent. We're running, trying to find the love. We're trying to stuff ourselves, distract ourselves, taking refuge in people, places, and things that are not eternal. So there goes the reason why I hate love readings. Doesn't mean I don't do them. Doesn't mean I don't love to do them. I am of the belief that when you raise your vibration and you align with service to the Creator, that energy will anchor out of the spiritual intimate member of the soul group in here in the physical. When you step into your sacred union with the divine, it'll become a physical union that's in alignment with you, not just today. You'll grow into it, not out of it or apart from it. Bhakti can also be liberation. You can be liberated through love. But this is the kind of liberation I'm talking about, is oneness and union by becoming one with something bigger than yourself. So what is God? What is higher power? It's something bigger than you, loving, caring, and kind. It doesn't need to be this scary place. There are 7 forms of God, ranging all the way from God Almighty, fury, fire, and brimstone to I am God, or God is alive in me, or God manifests through me. I believe that heaven is the space above the nose, and God is the third eye. There are heavenly vibrations. I don't believe that heaven is a place. I don't believe that hell is a place. I literally believe it's an energy frequency vibration. It's a consciousness level that one can attain. Now, yes, there is a divine realm, duh, and there are deities that live in these divine realms, but I believe the divine realms are, the lower divine realm is your high vibrational emotions or high vibrational feelings, and that the higher divine realm is your high vibrational thoughts, and that the human consciousness is in emotions, which happen in the present, and ideas, which happen in the present. And the reason we have free will is because we can choose to carry those emotions and ideas with us as feelings and thoughts. And according to our vibration, meaning what we choose to call them, we can either manifest a higher vibrational reality or enslave ourselves to a lower vibrational reality. So the purpose of devotion, when you come around me and when you come to the mystery school, is what is the scope of your duality? What is the scope of your desires? Are you thriving? Do your emotions and ideas turn into fear and greed, or do they propel you into eternal wisdom, not just self-love and ego to satiate and pacify current experiences? Are you bound to your illusions, or are you immersed in taking refuge in the divine, and is it liberating you with every experience? To me, feelings, to me, thoughts are like clothes. You can try them on and take them off. Yeah, okay, maybe an emotion, maybe an idea happens in the present, it's in the moment, and it's stimuli from your environment, and you can choose to unalign with that stimuli by leaving the environment. But a thought, a feeling, those are things that get labeled that you decide to carry with you. You're not always in control of the stimuli in the environment. You're not always in control of the experience. But you are in control of the narrative. So I believe that emotions and ideas are in the present. And thoughts and feelings are either in the past or the future, depending on which one they are. And those are the things that you carry with you, and those are the things that shape your experience, because that's what's manifesting your experience. So your thoughts become your actions become your results reinforce your thinking, because your thinking is the product of your belief system. And your belief system is a product of your conditioning. So Hinduism suggests that several paths to liberation. And it's declared in the sacred texts, especially the Bhagavad Gita, that all paths to the Creator, they lead to the unbound self, the unencumbered self. Now, some paths are difficult to pursue because you have to renounce. True bhakti, true devotion to the divine, comes in many different forms. Spiritually, it's the form of renunciation, which is basically detachment, so you concentrate through meditation. Other forms of bhakti is mentally. Those are also types of sacrifice. So you have chants, you have prayers. There are also rituals like sacrifices and even fasting. The liberation comes when the individuality and the notions of separateness disappear. Therefore, you perceive beyond duality into a type of universal consciousness. So imagine if you align with the frequency and vibration of God, and then one of the multiple forms of God, the attributes or aspects that we try to align ourselves with while we're in the physical. For instance, Jesus, we know that story, Krishna. That's a form of God's love. There are other forms of God, angry gods, benevolent gods, gods that perform miracles. Okay? So when you have that kind of consciousness and you're tackling love, it's different. Versus I'm this human with bills to pay and children to feed and a house to keep over my head, a roof to keep over my head, and I'm going to pull from sources outside of myself to feed what's alive in me. Because to me, real bhakti is sublime. It's when you're drunk on divinity, where all of a sudden you're in a trance, where every single thing that happens around you is not happening to you, it's happening for you, and it's stimulating ecstatic bliss, rapture, here in this world. It's a little different. It's surrendering yourself completely to God, therefore having no desires, therefore everything is satiating, versus always having some craving of something that's not within your grasp at the moment, seeking for things outside of yourself instead of witnessing the sacred miracle, the sacred event, the sacred song, the sacred dance, the sacred ritual of every in-breath, out-breath. I can get deep. I can go to ecstatic bliss when I talk about it. I always have to, tread water at the surface, because if I go deep, I go deep. It can really get selfless really quick. Humans are bound by their emotions. And in many respects, everything that they're looking at, everything that they're dealing with is just a thinly disguised version of self-love, self-importance, basically ego. And demons and humans and gods, there's different things that feed them. Pleasure feeds the gods. Ego and greed feeds demons. Okay? Fear and doubt feed humans. So you're asking for a soulmate, but you're looking at demonic and human qualities. And pleasure, if pleasure is a form of escape and not a ritual in and of itself, it doesn't count as divine. So I just wanted to share some of these things with you, There is a flash sale going on if you're looking for a love reading. I don't want to say that we can't do it. But do you have bhakti? Do you have devotion? Are you completely in harmony with him, with the source, with creator? Has true union with the divine arisen in your life, where your individuality gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and the only place of individuality is where you know you're called to serve. Everything else is unified with the creator. Because then those are the people in the real twin flame relationships. Just saying. So check the show notes. There's a flash sale going on until the 29th. There's also a semester for the Mystery School opening up soon. Open enrollment until the 29th. There's no website for it right now. There is a link in the show notes with the macro syllable. The macro syllabus. It's the master rubric, it's called. I'm going to leave that right there. I'm not going to say much more about it. It's up to you. If you have taken the class before and you didn't get, the ball was dropped by me, you didn't get your needs met, the promise didn't get fulfilled, you can audit for free. Oracle at priestessgorgeous.org. Know that I love you, know that I honor you, know that I praise you. Thank you for your continued love and support.